This is Ricky with SwoyerRollSports.com. Going to be talking some NFL today. I know we've got a lot going on. Swoyerroll's been really doing awesome recently. The new private investment group is up and running and off to a very good start. We've hired Zachary Pencer in for hockey, and he's going to be making lineups for us this year. And NHL starts tonight. We've been having very good success with our college football lineups and John Downing. So we're going to try to keep the momentum going up. So we're going to talk a little bit about football this week. The first position I'm going to go over is quarterback at the top here. We've got Peyton Manning at 10,200. They play the Jets. The Jets have really struggled against the number 2 and slot receivers so far this year. A little concern from the receiver standpoint is you never know who Manning's going to go to personally. And at 10,200, he's probably good for somewhere in his average game. 22, 23, 24 points is above average matchup for him. So he's definitely an option. Aaron Rodgers at Miami. This is being from Florida. I personally know Aaron Rodgers is going to light up Miami this week. He's at 9,600. Right around okay value for him. The next option is Phillip Rivers. He's playing at Oakland, and with a lack of a running game this week, I think Phillip Rivers is a very good option. He has a lot of good matchups in terms of passing. Oakland has a very weak rush defense. I don't like that his price tag's at 9,100. It seemed last year Fanduel just kept his price tag around 6,500 or 7,000 all year, no matter what. He just always had a great value, but they seem to have fixed that from now. A couple of spots down, Matt Stafford is at Minnesota, and I watched the whole Detroit-Buffalo game last week, and Stafford was on his heels the whole game. Buffalo put a lot of pressure on him. I think they sacked him 6 times. He only had 177 yards passing, I believe. With Calvin likely not to play this week, Golden Tate definitely provides some value, but I would definitely be a little skeptic of playing Matt Stafford, possibly a GPP guy. In terms of cheaper quarterbacks, Austin Davis blew up last week. They play San Fran this week. His price is 7,800. I'm not touching him there. Colin Kaepernick provides an interesting GPP option at quarterback this week. St. Louis is giving up the second most rushing yards to quarterbacks this year, and I think Colin Kaepernick has averaged around 6 fantasy points on FanDuel over the last 16 weeks with just his legs. Although I don't personally like him as a thrower, he does provide a little bit of upside, and at some point here he's going to break a 50 or 70 yard touchdown run. But in terms of him throwing for 375 yards and 3 touchdowns, that doesn't seem very likely. Roethlisberger's price has gone down. He's 7,600. Eli at 7,200. The Giants started just absolutely abysmal this year, and their offense is looking good. Odell Beckham Jr., the rookie out of LSU, has come in, and I'm not an LSU fan for what it's worth, but I just collect some different clothes. He's come in and had several targets last week. Ruben Randall, you've got Victor Cruz. They've got a lot of weapons on offense, and they're starting to get that new offense down, and I like the way the Giants have turned it around this year. Tannehill, I wouldn't play him if he was $2,200. That's just personal preference, though. Here you got Vic as well. They're home. He's 6,900. I know he's exciting, and you could talk me into some GPP value with him here, but he did not look any better than Geno Smith. He looks a lot cooler, but he did not look any better in the pocket throwing the ball last week. So I would just avoid the Jets altogether. Jake Locker is questionable with a bruised thumb, but at 6,800, if he were able to play this week, and I was confident he was going to get some actual reps in, I really like him against Jacksonville. He's got a lot of potential moving the ball with his feet, and I think Jake Locker at that price is definitely a value, a possibility, without a doubt. They just said Bridgewater will be back in today against Detroit, so that'll be something I'll keep an eye on there. But that's what I'm really looking at in terms of quarterbacks. Overall, I don't spend any time on kickers and defenses. I shouldn't say I don't spend any time. I think picking the right defense, a low-price defense, is important. But there's no predictive statistics to really indicate that you're going to be able to figure out which defense is going to perform on a week-to-week basis. There's a few things that I use that try to plug in a specific amount of points each week. In terms of kicker, unless I really like my lineup and don't have any extra money, I'm looking at Nick Folk at 4,500, Robbie Gould at 4,600. I doubt I even spend up and get to the $4,800 kicker there, because consistency with kickers, although they can be consistent, to try to predict how many points they're going to score from a week to week is the least predictive position. And I would love for Fanduel to actually get rid of that altogether. One interesting position here is tight end, and you've got Julius Thomas this week at 8,200, who is the most expensive tight end on the board, and they play the Jets, and the Jets have a very, very hard time covering tight ends. And you saw what Julius did last week. He had a couple of touchdowns, and he's played very well this year, and he just continues to put up those numbers. I, again, with Denver's offense, and especially spending $8,200 on a tight end, I'm looking for Jimmy Graham specifically. He's just kind of the focal point of their offense, even though Breeze spreads the ball around a little bit too. I think the fact that you've got Welker back, and you've got Sanders, and you've got all the other targets they have there at wide receiver, they certainly don't run the ball, nor will they even try to run the ball this week. The Jets have the best run defense in the league by quite a bit, actually. So Julius, to me, is probably not somebody I'll have a lot of exposure to in my cash games. I could see him being a GPP guy. We're going to quickly gloss over some wide receivers that we're possibly looking at this week. Andrew Hawkins at 5,300 remains a nice little option. They play Pittsburgh for the second time this year. He's leading the team in targets by a few, and I think he's a reasonable choice. Roddy White has a nice matchup in Chicago at 7,200. I think Julio, with his price tag, definitely has more of a chance to struggle. If I look over here at some other guys that I'm targeting this week, I think Anquan Bolden has a very good matchup, and especially if Vernon Davis plays. Vernon Davis also has a fantastic overall matchup. If he plays, I like Anquan a lot better, but St. Louis has really struggled against wide receiver number twos, and they've also struggled pretty severely against tight ends this year. However, Vernon has played a couple of games where he's been kind of questionable and had to leave, and I'm a big fan of Vernon Davis, especially how much it helps Colin Kaepernick, but I would definitely be leery of that going forward. I doubt I could see putting him in any cash games right now. There's some other guys we're targeting. We've got a whole spreadsheet already done with a player pool worth of guys, and we'll be throwing those into 10 to 12 different rosters for our fund this week. And just wanted to put a video out there and say hi to you guys and put something out. So I'm going to try to have some more content coming up on the site, and I think Green Mountain Grinder, John Downing, has agreed to put some college football content up, so you guys get to see him. He's a very intelligent guy. So we're going to have some more stuff going up, and I'm signing off for now. Later, Swollers.